I want to go through this affidavit with you in the highlighted part, sentence by sentence. Do you see the pale orange part, which I'm now going to read to you? Plaintiffs claim that I started the controversy and or conspiracy about Sandy Hook being a hoax. This is not true. I read that correctly?
I need to read the full page, please.
Please take a moment to read it.
Let me just read this, thanks. Okay, so reading the orange part you wanted me to read?
I actually just read it to you and wanted to know if I had read it correctly. Allow me to read it again for you, Mr. Jones. Plaintiffs claim that I started the controversy and or conspiracy theory about Sandy Hook being a hoax. This is not true. I read that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. The next sentence says, before I ever publicly commented on any issues relating to Sandy Hook, I learned that others with whom I have no affiliation or relationship had already posted articles. Excuse me, Mr. Jones, if you'd like to flip the page. Relationship had already posted articles online making this claim and questioning the events as reported. I read that sentence correctly?
Yes.
So there were a variety of articles and YouTube videos questioning the events that started getting popular in the time period after the shooting. I assume you saw some of those?
Yes.
How long is this are we talking? Are we talking days, weeks, months?
I don't know. I don't want to answer incorrectly. I don't remember the exact times. It was, so I really can't state that time, but I think a month or longer.
Sure. Okay. I remember there was about a month after the shooting, there was a relatively popular YouTube video went viral. Do you recall this video?
There were a lot with 2 million, 10 million. There was a bunch of videos, and it was a firestorm of on the internet about it.
Okay. And it was then, which you had saw that you started covering it, started commenting on Sandy Hook.
Objection as to define Sandy Hook. Objection to the floor.
Thank you. You can go ahead and answer, Mr. Jones.
No, I started commenting on Sandy Hook that they would use it to go after our guns, and that the media always hyped up school shootings and was causing copycat events, and that the mainstream media were basically psychic vampires promoting mass shootings so they could blame gun owners and try to take the Second Amendment away, which they pushed to repeal the Second Amendment. So for the first month or so, and again, I can't go back to exact numbers, it was like almost 7 years ago, but we've gone back and looked at some of it trying to find, it was like at least 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so, and then it was such a firestorm, the internet's like, no, this isn't Prozac, this isn't video games, like I was saying, I thought, like other shootings that happened. Mm-hmm. This was, some type of staged event or multiple shooters or people in the woods and things like that. So there was a whole range of theories and a big internet debate going on that I then reported on and gave analysis to my opinions.
Correct. Okay.
And I think that's what was weeks after, I can't give the exact number, I immediately, when it happened, said, oh, look, another person in a black trench coat, loner on psychotropics that came out, shoot 'em up video games. And I remember being criticized by the video game industry saying, don't you blame video games.
What I'm curious about, Mr. Jones, can you flip the page back over again and look at the beginning of the yellow sentence? So when you say, before I ever publicly commented on any issues relating to Sandy Hook, you saw other stuff going on, right? You mean whether it was staged or not. I mean, in other words, you made some comments about Sandy Hook when it first happened. But in terms about it being a false flag or staged or some sort of hoax event, right? That came later. You're not the one who started that.
Objection as to form.
I know that I didn't start it, and I think it's a boilerplate anytime there's a big public event like Jesse Smollett or babies in incubators in Iraq. A lot of people question, whether it's real. I think President Trump questioned right after he got elected and was first in office whether the attacks on the Jewish cemeteries were being staged. It turned out they were. So going from memory, I remember looking at it as your standard horrible tragedy of psychotropic drugs, a kid into occult, type stuff like Columbine, shoot 'em up video games. I remember that's where I was going, because that's where all the other shootings basically came from.
Sure.
And so I can't specifically, I mean, I'm going from the best of my memory.
Okay. Mr. Jones, I want to show you some video clips of some things you were saying as news broke of Sandy Hook, and in a video that day that you titled "Connecticut School Massacre Looks Like False Flag, Says Witnesses." Can you play the clip day of Sandy Hook?
But get a hold of your cousin when she settles down and get her to talk to us for any other information. We need to know, were there any drills that day or the day before? Does she know anything? Did she have anything about other shooters, or was it that she never saw the shooters?
Well, I had asked them if it was supposedly too, because they have a lot of security at that school. You have to ring a doorbell in order to get into the school.
Yeah, of course, which is another sign of that's, you know, it's one of these federal model schools. You've heard me say, look for a big mass shooting at schools. You've heard me. We've got to find the clips the last 2 months. I probably said it 20 times. So don't ever think the globalists that have hijacked this country wouldn't stage something like this. They kill little kids all day, every day. And it's not our government. It's the globalist. And that is an inside job right there, either way you cut it. I bet money that woman was a super liberal. I bet money. That's what I said. I said, I bet he's in his 20s, a big video gamer, a trendy. Well, notice it didn't happen the last few years, and now that Obama's coming in with gun control, magically these shootings are popping up. People got to find the clips the last 2 months. I said they are launching attacks. They're getting ready. I can see them warming up with Obama. They've got a bigger majority in the Congress now, in the Senate. They are going to come after our guns, look for mass shootings. And then magically it happens. They are coming. They are coming. They are coming.
Mr. Jones, this is a video where you made comments on issues relating to Sandy Hook, and you put forward a theory that it could be staged by the government to take away our guns, correct?
One objection, it seems like this is a video from watching it that's different pieces put together.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not from, so different things are out of context. Is there any way to get like the whole?
You own the whole video, and it's been produced with Mr. Zipsafadu.
Okay, but for his purposes, so he's just getting.
If he wants to go watch an entire 4-hour video, I'm not going to have time for that
Marking
now.
has not been produced with Zip's video.
Actually, Connecticut false full video has been produced, and it's been in the court. If you want to argue about that and object, you can object at that at the time it's offered. That objection's preserved. You don't have to object to form to that. Mr. Jones, that was a video in which you made statements about Sandy Hook, and in which you said, put forth the theory it could be staged to take away our guns.
That's a Media Matters edited. That's a Media Matters edited derivative production.
Is that you on that tape?
It's edited.
And that's you talking about, don't think this couldn't be staged. Our government kills little kids all the time. That's you saying those words.
With smart bombs and things. Yes,
right.
That's edited out of context.
The truth is, Mr. Jones, you were the first person in the world to make the false flag theory about Sandy Hook, and you did it before the bodies were even cold. That's the truth.
No, it's not true.
To form and to the definition. Are we going to have like set definitions of the words? Like
No, you can object to form. Yeah, that's the rule 199. Just object to form.
That's fine.
Mr. Jones, you said in your affidavit that before you commented on any issues relating to Sandy Hook, you saw other things that other people were doing. That affidavit has false statements, doesn't it?
Nope.
So we didn't just see you commenting on issues relating to Sandy Hook?
That was callers calling it up, and it's heavily edited.
You're going to tell me you watched that video and you weren't commenting on Sandy Hook?
I told you 5 minutes ago before you played it that as a boilerplate of any big public event, whether it's Jussie Smollett or whether it's babies having their brains bashed out in incubators or WMDs, that I upfront questioned it because things from Operation Northwoods and hundreds of declassified real staged events where our government admits that it staged events, that I always boilerplate say that we need to investigate the news reportage of this and see what's true, because such a long history of governments and corporations and legal groups engaging in fraud. And I said that before you played the clip.
Objection non-responsive. Mr. Jones, I have a very simple question for you. That video you just saw of you talking, were you talking about Sandy Hook?
The edited pieces were.
The pieces that I edited and put together of you speaking.
I believe Media Matters.
I edited them. When I edited those pieces together and put them in front of you, was that you on the camera?
I saw Media Matters video of that before. That's not you. You're saying you edited that?
Yeah, I did, Mr. Jones. It's not a.
But you did edit
not,
it.
It's not an important deal. I did. Yes, I'm not here to answer questions.
3-second clips together.
Those clips were edited together by me 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
from
okay.
your video.
Why didn't you just play it unedited?
That's, Mr. Jones, I'm not here to answer your questions. You understand you're here because people have sued you and you have 4 hours in which they're there to ask you questions. You going to do that for me today?
Yes, I'm answering your questions.
So in that video, yes or no, you were commenting about Sandy Hook?
In the edited video, I was commenting on Sandy Hook.